Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Thank you for joining us. This is Michael Kupfer with Harvard Business Services, and Mike Bell is with me. He's going to be presenting to you in just a minute. And just a couple quick notes before we get started today. First of all, I'd like to ask everyone who logged in today, if you wouldn't mind just taking a second and typing into the chat and letting us know where you're located. We like to serve clients from all over the world, and often we have people joining our webinars from all different places, so we're happy to know where you're from and see what countries are represented here. As we do that, I'll let you know that the webinar today, like the other ones that we do, is being recorded. We'll be able to send out the recording of this session along with the slides that we're showing in an email tomorrow. So you will be receiving that in your email tomorrow automatically. So if you don't see that come through, you can let us know, but it should be there. And we should be able to move fairly quickly through our content today. We'll have some time extra for Q&A at the end, but you should definitely feel free to type in your questions as we go, and we'll be able to answer them along the way as well. Sometimes people have a little bit of confusion about this topic, so we're happy to answer whatever questions you might have. And I want to take just 1 second to introduce our company a little bit. And for those of you who have joined us in the past for these webinars, I apologize if it's redundant, but I think it's important just to run through. So this company, Harvard Business Services, was founded in 1981 in Wilmington, Delaware by Rick Bell. The company has always been family owned and operated. Rick's son, Mike, who's going to be presenting here in just a moment, was named our president this past January 1st. We are located in Lewis, Delaware. We're right on the coast. We've formed over 150,000 companies. In fact, that number is getting up close to 170,000 now. And we have over 75,000 current clients worldwide. We are a Delaware registered agent and formation specialist. We are very customer focused. We offer free lifetime support and low prices and a very friendly staff who is always eager to answer your questions and quick to respond to anything you might have. I do want to note that we are not attorneys or accountants, so please don't take any information in today's webinar as legal advice or as accounting advice. And lastly, we have no affiliation with Harvard University, despite sharing the Harvard name. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Mike to talk to you a little bit about EINs and ITINs and tax IDs.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This webinar is going to try and answer your questions about what is a tax ID number, what it's used for, who needs a tax ID number, is it the same thing as a state file number, where do you get this EIN number, and then we're going to try and go explain a little bit about what is an individual tax identification number. We are not an acceptance agent for obtaining individual tax identification numbers. We are in this process of getting this acceptance, being an acceptance agent, but it's going to take quite a while for us to go through that process. So I will try to answer your questions as best as I can in my ability, but do know that I don't have the answers to every single question. So there may be times where you ask a question that may need to be addressed to an accountant or an attorney that I'm not able to answer, and I do apologize if I'm not able to answer the question, but I will do to the best of my ability. So first, I want to take a little bit of time and talk about the employee identification number, which is the EIN. It's also known as a tax ID number. Think of the tax ID number as the social security number for the business. It will allow you to open a U.S. bank account, conduct lawful business activities in the U.S., apply for loans if you need loans for the company, and hire U.S. employees. If you are not physically operating here in the U.S., but you have formed a U.S. business, you don't necessarily need to get a federal tax ID number. Generally, you only need to get a federal tax ID number if you are planning on doing one of these listed activities above, which is opening a U.S. bank account, conducting lawful business activities in the U.S., applying for loans in the U.S., or hiring U.S. employees. The number, the federal tax ID number is provided by the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. So you are getting that number directly through them on your own, or you can hire somebody like Harvard to do it for you. So the next slide tells you about how long it takes to obtain the EIN number and the process. For obtaining a EIN number, you fill out the SS4 form. You can either call the IRS, you can fax it into them, you can do it online as well. But if you don't have time to deal with the IRS, because sometimes you will have to wait long periods of time on the phone with them, Harvard is here to offer two services to you to assist with obtaining the federal tax ID number. We have two dedicated specialists in our office here that call the IRS all day, every day, to obtain federal tax ID numbers and to help answer your questions with regards to the SS4 form that you may have questions regarding with the information that's pre-filled in and signing it and things of that nature. So if you have both a United States address and a Social Security number or an individual tax identification number, the form can be completed with us using our services in approximately 3 to 4 business days after we receive the signed SS4 form back from you. The cost of this service is $65. The reason this service is so fast is because we're doing it automated with the IRS to get that number for you. So we're doing it online to obtain that number for you. We're calling the IRS directly to get that number for you. However, if you do not have a United States address and you do not have a Social Security number and you do not have an individual tax identification number, the process is a bit longer because we can't just call the IRS or obtain it for you online. We have to physically fax that form into the IRS. So there's a little bit of a longer process that goes into it, and that takes 7 to 20 business days. And because it's a little bit more of a complex way of getting the number, the service does cost an additional $30, and it's for a total of $95. In addition, if you do not have a U.S. address and you do not have a Social Security number, we will ask for you to provide us a copy of your passport for the responsible party. Once we get a copy of the passport, the processing time will begin. As I said, it does take 7 to 20 business days. So those are our services to help assist you with obtaining the federal tax ID number on your behalf. A lot of people ask us, when should I apply for the tax ID number? Is it the very first thing that I should do, or do I have to do it later on in the process? These are our general guidelines and recommended process. It's the typical way of doing it. Typically, you're going to form your company first, and before you can form your company, you need to figure out the type of entity that you want to form, whether it's an LLC or a corporation. You then need to figure out the name of the business, and the business name should reflect what the business does. If you have a name for a company in mind and you want us to check the availability of it for you here in Delaware, we can do that very quick and easily. You can also do that directly on our website. And then you're going to want to incorporate your business first. A lot of people think obtaining the tax ID number is the first thing, but really and truly the first thing you want to do is incorporate your business. And then but with us, when you're filling out the application online or you're talking to one of our experts on the phone, we can do the formation and obtain the federal tax ID number all in one fell swoop. So it's you pay the total price for the formation package and the EIN number, and then we take care of everything for you. So it's all hands off for you. Once you form the company and apply for the federal tax ID number, often the next step in the process, if you are located in another state's jurisdiction, but you're incorporated here in the state of Delaware, let's say you're physically located in the state of California, but you formed your company here in Delaware, the next step is to apply for Certificate of Authority, also known as foreign qualification, to allow you to do business as a Delaware company in the state of California. This will help you to comply with any local and state compliance matters. That goes for any state. The example was just California. Then once you do the foreign qualification process, you can then obtain the necessary business licenses that you need in your state, and any other licenses that you need. You can then go open your business bank account. You can open the business bank account with any bank of your choice, and anywhere in the world that you would like. It's not required to be opened here in Delaware. Most people will work with banks that they are most familiar with. Typically, to open the bank account here in the U.S., you are going to need a copy of your certificate of formation or incorporation, which we provide to you at the time of filing, along with federal tax ID number. However, every bank and banker is different, so they may require additional documents in order to open that bank account. So you'll want to contact the bank that you're going to work with to say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. What do you need from me in order to open the bank account? And they'll tell you exactly what you need. Once you've done all these things, then you can go out there and you can run your business and do what you do best. So we will guide you through the entire process. That's what we've been doing since 1981. We have dedicated specialists that are available via phone, live chat, email, Skype, and other ways to communicate with us, and we're happy to answer any questions before, during, and after the incorporating process. And if you want to get started on forming your company, you can go directly to the link at the bottom of the page. A lot of people inquire about what information is requested in order to obtain the federal tax ID number. This is the information that the IRS is going to ask for. Some of the information that they're going to ask for is just for purposes to see how many jobs are going to be available out there and things of that nature. So it's just a guesstimation with some stuff, but there is some stuff that they need accurate. So they need the legal name of the entity. They need the mailing address. It must be a street address. It can be in the U.S. or it can be outside the U.S. It's not required to be here in the U.S. If your address is here in the U.S., we need to know the name of the county that you're located in and the state where the principal business is located. We do need a name of a responsible party and their social security number or their individual tax identification number, as the IRS does require one responsible party to obtain that federal tax ID number. They need to know the type of entity of your business, whether it's an LLC or a corporation. These next few topics are basically estimations. They want to know an estimation when the first date wages will be paid after you hire employees. Again, it can just be an estimate. It doesn't have to be exact. They also want to know how many jobs are going to be available out there in the next 12 months. Again, this is just an estimation. But they also want to know what your principal activity of business is. And that means by the industry you're in, whether it's construction or something of that nature. They then want to know a brief description of the product sold, produced, or service provided. And then once you fill out all this information, like I said, we prepare the SS4 form on your behalf with all this information in it. We email it to you, and all you have to do is sign it. So we make it simple and easy for you so you don't have to fill out any of this information. It's all filled out for you, and then all you have to do is sign it. But that is the information that they require. So a lot of people ask us about the responsible party and what that kind of means and for the SS4 form. So I'm going to go into a little bit more details about in this slide about what the responsible party is, who the responsible party is. So, as I said before, when you are applying for a federal tax ID number, you must name a responsible party. The individual manages, directs, and/or controls the entity behind the EIN. It must be one specific person, even if there are multiple people who manage or own the company. This responsible party will be the person, the only official IRS contact for the company. All IRS correspondence will be sent and received by this person. A responsible party can be changed if it does need to be changed, along with the business name and address. But there is a certain form that you need to fill out in order to update that information, and that's 8822-B. We do also offer a service to help assist you with that process as well if that should ever come up. So that's a little bit more on the responsible party, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. So a little bit more on who can be the responsible party for the company. The responsible party can only be certain people depending on the type of company. If it's an LLC, it must be one of the members. Members are known as owners in an LLC. If you are in a partnership, it must be one of the partners. And if you are a corporation, the person must have one of the following titles: president, chief executive officer, vice president, treasurer, or corporate secretary. So there's a lot of requirements in order to be a responsible party, but we can help answer those questions and walk you through that to help you understand it better. So a lot of people ask, well, once we submit the SS4 form, what happens after that? So once we submit the SS4 form on your behalf, we're going to get the federal tax ID number, and we're going to email it to you for your records. But then the IRS does also send out a confirmation letter, but it comes directly from the IRS. It does not come from Harvard Business Services. So it does take some time to get this confirmation letter from the IRS. The letter is known as Form CP-575, and as I said, the IRS mails it to the address listed on the SS4 application. Estimated time delivery is 2 to 4 weeks for U.S. addresses and 8 to 10 weeks for international addresses. Some banks or vendors may request to see this letter in order to establish an account or complete a transaction. The CP-575 cannot be reissued. Many of our clients make copies of their letter and store them in a secure location, so if they do need it, they have it. However, if you do lose the confirmation letter, there is a different letter called a 147C that can be requested from the IRS to confirm your EIN number. So it is very important to keep the EIN confirmation letter on file at all times, just like it is with your formation documents and your binding agreements, like your LLC operating agreement and bylaws. The EIN confirmation letter is another important document for the company to keep on file. If you don't receive it, you can always contact the IRS to inquire about it. The IRS won't let us speak on your behalf once we've submitted the form. So if you do have questions regarding that confirmation letter, you do have to reach out directly to the IRS. Okay, so a lot of people unfortunately have to close their business sometimes, and we don't like to see you close your business, but we understand that that does happen at times. So a lot of people ask us what happens to the federal tax ID number if you close the business. Well, federal tax ID number is never formally discontinued, reassigned, or reused. The company can notify the IRS in writing that it is no longer in operation, and the IRS will close the associated business account, but the EIN will still be associated with the closed account. So if the same business decided to reopen in the future, it will still be able to use the original EIN. So once the IRS has issued a tax identification number to your company, that number sticks to your company for the life of it, whether it's in business or not in business. And a lot of people ask us that. Once you inform the IRS, obviously they close the account and all that, but the EIN never dies. It's still alive. All right, so a lot of other times we get questions about, is my federal tax ID number the same thing as my state identification number? And the answer to that question is no. The federal tax ID number and the state ID number are two completely different numbers. The federal tax ID number is issued by the IRS, which is part of the U.S. federal government, whereas the state ID number is issued by the state that you are incorporated in. So it's a unique ID number to identify that company in the state. In Delaware, the state file number is how the Division of Corporations identifies the company in its database, and that number is usually 7 digits long for the state identification number, whereas a federal tax ID number is 9 digits long. You do not have to apply for a Delaware state file number. That file number is provided automatically once we file your company with the state of Delaware. Your state file number is only used for Delaware-specific filings. Typically, your EIN number is used when dealing with the IRS or others requesting a tax ID for your company, whereas the state ID number is used when you're contacting the state in which your business is incorporated in. Okay, so now that we talked a little bit about tax ID numbers, I'm going to jump into a little bit of information about the individual tax ID number, because some people do have questions on whether an individual tax identification number is the same thing as a federal tax ID number, and things of that nature. So the individual tax ID number is a completely separate number from the federal tax ID number. It's provided by the IRS for an individual that is not eligible to receive a Social Security number. This number is obtained either through an acceptance agent. As I said, we're currently not an acceptance agent, but we are working to become an acceptance agent, or directly from the IRS by filling out the W-7 form. There's a lot that goes into filling out the W-7 form. I'm not too familiar with it, so I can't answer detailed questions on the form or what information to provide in the form. But like a Social Security number, the individual tax identification number is 9 digits long. One scenario where an ITIN is often used is when a non-U.S. citizen starts a U.S.-based company and may have U.S. source income. So generally, in order to pay income tax and stay compliant in the U.S. tax law, an ITIN is typically obtained for those filings. So if you do have questions on whether you need an individual tax identification number, it is best to speak to an accountant or a tax professional who can definitely help answer those questions for you and may even be able to help assist you obtain that individual tax identification number. All right, so ITIN requirements for EIN applications. In the past, non-U.S. residents have not been required to have an individual tax identification number in order to obtain the federal tax ID number. The IRS has spoken about making it a requirement for you to have an individual tax identification number in order to obtain EIN if you are a non-U.S. citizen. But however, that has not been put into place yet. So we're still gathering more information about that for our international clients. But as of now, if you don't have an individual tax identification number, you can still obtain the federal tax ID number, and Harvard can do that on your behalf. Again, you may want to consult with an attorney or a tax professional to determine if you should move quickly to start your company and obtain your EIN before any regulations change. Again, we're not sure when and if these regulations are going to come into play, but the IRS has the authority to change their regulations at any time. So we depend on them to provide the information that we need in order to pass it along to our clients, but sometimes we don't always get the answers that we need from the IRS. So it's a bit of a needle in a haystack, but just to let you know, we can still obtain federal tax ID numbers, and if this regulation does change where you do need an ITIN number, we are working to become an acceptance agent, but it is going to take us some time. So for right now, you do need to find an acceptance agent or fill out the W-7 form yourself to obtain an ITIN number. All right, so I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I am going to go into more details about it because a lot of people do ask about opening a business bank account being incorporated in the state of Delaware. As I said earlier, you can open your bank account anywhere in the world that you would like with any bank of your choice. To open a U.S. bank account, you do have to appear in person. If you find a company or someone that says that they can open a bank account on your behalf without being present, I would be very cautious because banks do require you to be present to open a U.S. bank account. You'll want to contact the bank for exact requirements. Again, they'll need a copy of the certificate of formation or incorporation from the state of Delaware and the federal tax ID number. A lot of people also ask us, well, is if Harvard Business Services can assist in opening a bank account, and unfortunately we are not able to assist you at this time. The banks do want to see you in person. So if you're not located in the U.S. and it's hard for you to get to the U.S., many clients may use the assistance of a family member that they have here in the U.S. to open a bank account for the company, or a friend they may know. So there is other ways that you can do it without coming to the U.S. If you can't make it, you can look to a friend or a family member who can help assist with that. But Harvard Business Services is not able to assist in opening the bank account. And again, if you do find someone that says that they can open the bank account on your behalf, I would be very cautious. All right, so that's really our presentation today about the EIN number and the individual tax identification number. I hope it answered your questions or any concerns that you had, but we're happy to take your questions that you may have. I'm going to turn it back over to Mike, who's going to talk a little bit more about us, and then we'll get into the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And just to reiterate, if you do have questions about anything you heard here today or anything else related to forming a company here in Delaware or in the United States, please go ahead and send them in. We have plenty of time here to answer questions, and we'll probably be able to give you some of your hour back to get some extra work done. But in the meantime, let me just go over this slide of why to choose Harvard Business Services. We've been around since 1981. We're family owned and operated. We mentioned this at the top of the broadcast here. We do offer free lifetime customer support, same-day filing service, low formation prices. We have a very low $50 per year Delaware registered agent service, which is a required service if you have a company here in Delaware. And we have excellent ratings on Better Business Bureau and on Trustpilot. And that's really what I wanted to call your attention to here. We have some great clients, and they're always eager to leave reviews for us. The vast majority of the reviews we get are 5 stars. And if you jump onto trustpilot.com or bbb.org and take a look at us, you'll see that those are some great reviews. And if you look at some of our competitors, you're going to see, not quite the same level of reviews. So I think that's one thing that will just kind of stand for itself and let you know that the service that you get with this company is really above and beyond what you're going to find at others. And we are here to help whenever you need it. You can feel free to contact us by phone, by email. We have a live chat feature on our website, and we're also available by Skype. So wherever you are and however you are most comfortable communicating, we are happy to help you in any way that we can. And I think many of you who are joining us today are already subscribed to our blog, but in case you're not, this is how you can do that. We send out educational content and news once per week. We never spam you. We don't send any kind of promotional offers or anything like that that you don't want. We never sell or share your information with anyone else, so it's just going to be that one email per week that you get from us by subscribing to your blog, to our blog, and that's it. So if you're interested in getting that information from us, please go ahead and subscribe like you see on the screenshot there. It's right on our website. And with that, we can take a few questions if you have them. Mike, I'm just going to kick it off with one quick question for you, which is, we talked in the beginning about the recommended order for how to open a business and get your EIN. What happens if you don't follow that order as far as the EIN goes? Are you able to form your company and then get the EIN afterwards?
Yeah, so if you do end up obtaining the federal tax ID number first, you can still form your company. You would just need to contact the IRS back to say that you are a LLC or a corporation. So it's not necessarily to say that you've done the wrong thing or you can't do business. You can still, if you obtain the tax ID number, you can still form the company next. It's just you do have to contact the IRS back to inform them what type of entity you are.
Great. And one other question for you, and this is really all we have in the queue right now, so if anyone has any questions, go ahead and send them in now. We talked about that if you have a U.S. address and a social security number or an ITIN, that you can apply online and it's just a quicker turnaround. Just to clarify, if you have only one of those things, if you have only a U.S. address or if you have only the social or the ITIN, you're still not able to you have to do it by hand. Is that correct?
So if you have a U.S. address but you don't have a social security number and you don't have a individual tax identification number, then yes, we do still have to fax it into the IRS. You have to have both a U.S. address and social security number or an individual tax ID number for us to submit it online. But if you have one but not the other, we do still have to fax it, and it's still going to take the 7 to 20 business days.
All right. Well, we don't have any other questions. I'm going to assume that means that we did a perfect job of answering everything that was on everyone's mind who was attending. You are, of course, welcome to contact us afterwards and ask us any questions that you didn't think of at the time, and we would welcome the opportunity to help you form your company and get your EIN, so let us know any way we can be of assistance. I mentioned in the beginning that this was recorded, so we will be sending out that recording and the slides for the webinar in an email tomorrow, so you can look for that. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day and rest of your week.